This is a Dragon Blazer production.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Drunk Like Me. I, of course, am your host, Steven, and as always, my drunk co-host, Drunk Summer.
Can't see me.
Hello.
Hi.
How you doing, Summer?
I'm good. Currently quarantined, so it's been great.
Well, it gave us time to do the show.
Exactly. I wanted a vacation, but not like this.
Right. Well, at least you're quarantined and not sick instead of sick and quarantine, which haven't been on here for a little while. I mean, I haven't got to record any of my podcasts in like 2 months because me and my entire family have been dealing with COVID. It's been kicking all of our asses. Haven't been able to meet up with my brother because we do our podcast together. We don't do it on Zoom because we watch the show together and we record. Right. So I haven't got to record with him because either I have COVID, now has COVID. He's currently in the hospital right now.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, it's been kicking our ass.
COVID is no joke.
And then you were moving, so you haven't had time. And it's just like every time we try to get together to start a podcast, something happens and
life is just like, no.
Life's like, fuck that.
Literally. That's my whole life at this point.
Right. But luckily, life didn't say fuck that today. And here we are.
Yep.
To do the next episode called I Am the Cook or Cook.
Cook,
I believe is what the name of the episode was called.
I think it is just Cook. I don't know.
Well, it has to do with a cook.
Yeah, I know that much.
Right.
And can I say as a cook that this was probably one of my most relatable episodes?
You know what? That's fair. It's just a cook. Just a cook. There's an A in front of that cook. So yeah, that was the episode we watched, a cook. I am drinking some cream soda mixed with some chocolate. I can't remember. It was a chocolate vodka or chocolate rum.
Oh, yeah.
Like chocolate vanilla rum. It is pretty really delicious.
I'm just drinking rum and Coke.
Well, I'm rum and cream soda, but it's a flavored rum. I debated on doing my Winter Jack.
Yeah, I'm excited to try
pie,
that.
But I'd really like to get you over there and we share this in Winter Jack because I could probably drink this whole thing by myself tonight if I had my way. I figured that's something I'd like to share.
Yeah.
Someday we'll get back together, but for now, Zoom call, and I like doing the Zoom call because we got your blurry background. Because
we don't have to clean that way.
Besides Summer.
This is the sanctuary. You can't see the sanctuary. I mean, you can make out what's happening back here. There's a bed. There's a window.
I mean, I know that because blurry. I saw it unblurred, but you really can't. There's a dark shadow over to the left there.
That's the portal to hell.
That's the portal to hell.
It's an easy commute.
Are you sure you're not already in the portal for hell? I mean, the way
No,
things
I haven't
go.
been at work since Monday.
Well, you know what? That's fair. That's fair. But yeah, so we are excited to get back into this. Hopefully, we
Yeah.
can keep this going on a regular basis if we can get
Well,
our lives
yeah,
together.
absolutely. Work has actually slowed down for me. I'm finally staffed up and I should only be working 8 to 4 every day now.
Cool.
So that'll free up a lot of time.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, hopefully we can get this going and we can finally finish the show, and I'm excited to see where we go after this. We haven't really decided what we're going to do, but I think we both want to continue podcasting together, so we're
Yeah.
just going to figure some shit out, maybe do another show, or
Yeah.
maybe just come on here and drunk ramble.
I think we should do movies. I was
Movies,
thinking
huh?
about that the other day because I just watched a really good movie, the movie Monster. Have
The
you
one
seen
where
that?
they Eileen Warnos.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've never seen it, but I heard it's
Oh
good.
my gosh.
I think
That's
she
so
won
much I want to say. So,
I think she won or not Grammy, wrong one, Oscar for that. I think she won some
did you hear they
awards.
canceled the Grammys?
Did they?
Yeah, because of omnivirus or whatever it's called.
Oh, because COVID's kicking everyone's ass right now.
Yeah, COVID
Yeah,
that's not real is,
yeah, yeah. It's
kicking
not real,
everybody's
guys.
ass. It's not real. Not real.
It's just the flu.
It's just the flu.
Well, I have two of
Anyway,
my family members currently in the hospital. My mom was in the
ooh,
hospital a couple weeks ago and is still on a um, still dealing with it. She's now got steroids, which they think might be from the or not on. She is on steroids, but they think she might be dealing with. She's got diabetes,
oh
but they
yeah,
think it might be the steroids, but we won't know until she's off the steroids if she's going to be dealing with diabetes for the rest of her life now.
right.
And besides that, she's got to wear she's got to put oxygen in her nose at all times.
Wow.
Currently, yeah, she's got a little thing up her nostrils and isn't able to work right now. Like,
But
it's not
COVID's not
just
real.
about death, it's not just about death. I'm sorry if I've got to go on this fake virus rant here, but it's not just about the death. It's the lifelong situation
Hmm.
that you will
Right.
could have to deal with. So take it seriously, guys. I mean, I don't want to see
Wear a
anyone die.
mask.
Wear a mask. Wear a
It's
mask.
really not that hard. It's a piece of paper. I mean, honestly, though, we couldn't convince a bunch of people to wear condoms. So how are we going to
Yeah.
convince them to wear a mask?
People aren't going to protect their dicks. They're not going to protect the face.
Exactly.
I mean, I just want you to be safe. I don't want to see, you know, I don't want this to be a Black Plague situation.
Right. Absolutely. And me working where I work, it's like I've taken it a lot more serious now since I'm around people all day who like their immune systems are already compromised. So, and that's kind of what I told this lady at the grocery store a couple weeks ago because she called me a sheep. And I was like, I work with 80 old people every day who are half of them are already on their way out. I don't want to speed that process up at all by bringing COVID in there. So,
Right.
yeah, it's just COVID. We had like 17 residents that had it all at one time. And it was rough. Thankfully, we only lost one, but it still just losing that one was enough. And it was all because somebody came in, they hadn't been tested, and they didn't wear a mask, and they spread it to 17 people.
Jeez.
So it's just crazy. But I'm all for masks, all for everything. Like, get it, be safe, keep yourself safe. And even if you don't want to do it for yourself, do it for everybody else.
Right.
So my opinion of it.
Yeah. Luckily, my coworkers you're seeing right over here.
Are you working from home all the
I
time now?
am working from home.
Yes. I don't know how you do it because I've been doing it just this week and it's driving me crazy.
Oh, you get to still work even though
Uh-huh.
that's awesome.
I am. I've been doing like conferences and stuff like that, just kind of being there as much as I can without being there.
Well,
So
that's
if they
cool.
need
I mean,
something,
that
they're calling me.
at least you're not like losing hours right now while quarantining, especially when not even having it. So,
Right.
you're not just losing hours for no reason. So
Right.
that's great. Yeah, no, I've been working from home. Um, I lost a few hours because of when I had COVID. Um, that was kind of a mixture of me not feeling well and we were kind of slow. So they kind of
Mhm.
just offered for me to take some time off.
Right.
So I lost some hours and it was mostly voluntarily, but
Mhm.
um, I was kind of, not to get gross, but I was dealing with some symptoms requiring bathroom breaks quite frequently, which would have sucked. Trying to
Right.
work and being on the phone, like, hold on 1 second, ma'am, I gotta go. you know?
We'll talk about your toaster in just a minute.
No, I actually deal with medical insurance,
I
so
know, but still.
there's no
For
toasters
for
involved.
whatever reason, every call center just makes me think of toasters, and I don't know why.
Toasters.
I don't know.
Shoot. When I think of call centers, I think of either, have you had your basement waterproofed yet? Or, I used to work for a place where you waterproofed basements and it was telemarketing and you had to call people. And do you know how many people like to say fuck off to someone who's just doing their job? A lot.
Yes. Yeah, I was a server at one point, remember?
Well, yeah, but and I was a server too, but and every once in a while you get people like that. Um, the difference is with telemarketing, when someone is safely on their phone and not directly in your face, it seems like they think it's okay to talk to you like shit.
That should be a TV show. A guy that's like a telemarketer by day, and then like he hunts down the people that are shitty to them. And then he goes to their house and he beats the fuck out of them. And he's like, the next time you call into a call center, you better be nice.
No,
And
well,
then he just like,
that's the problem. It was telemarketing, so I had to call them.
oh,
So I was calling them and they were like, fuck you, take me off your fucking list.
then no,
You
that's what he can
fucking
do. He can beat the shit out of him, but he has the list. And then after he's done, he marks out their name and he's like, there.
Actually, the
And
first thing, yes, he should take them off the list. That's fantastic. First thing he should do is like, sir, did you say fuck you, you fucking piece of shit? Yeah, what about it? You're off the
literally,
list now, bitch.
he better call an ambulance.
Yeah. Would you like me to call? You didn't want me to call before.
That's great.
I gained a lot of respect for telemarketers with that job for 2 weeks. I
Oh,
think I
I
worked there
bet.
for 2 weeks. And I was like, it's one of the worst jobs. And the worst part is you're getting pressured. Like you have to like get so many people to actually agree to have
Mhm.
to pay for a basement water, or getting checked on your waterproofing basement. And over half your calls are people hanging up on you, treating you like shit. I think you get one a week maybe, and they'll
That's
fire
why
your ass.
you have to call the old ladies and start out with, "Have you heard the good news?" And then from there, be like, "There's a man." And then just go in, you make it sound like it's the Lord, but really it's this guy that's gonna come waterproof your basement. Just be like, "He can walk on
Oh,
water."
there's a leak here.
There's a leak here. Don't worry, ma'am, I can walk on water.
I walk on a lot of water. You really need some waterproofing. Okay.
We need to get to the point.
Right. We're here to talk about dead like me,
Not waterproofing basements.
not waterproofing, because fuck that job. Anyways, all right. So we start this show off. The first scene is George talking about stopping and smelling the roses. And she's like, I wish somebody would have said that to me when I was 18. or as an 18-year-old, and she's like, of course I would have never
Probably
listened to
wouldn't have
them
done it
anyways.
anyway. Yeah.
But like a quick, nice little intro.
Yeah.
Um, after that, the next scene we get, Rube is very disappointed with his corned beef hash.
And to be fair, I would have been disappointed with that corned beef hash too.
Well, he wanted that crisp.
Yeah.
It's
And
not
those
how
eggs
it's
were not
done.
over easy at all.
He also mentions to George that he's okay with people stealing from those who can't use that stuff anymore.
Yeah. But
So, but
not okay with her stealing when she says she's gonna start stealing things.
right.
Oh, Peanut.
Oh, Peanut. You're already starting to use his little nicknames. So what do you think about this scene? I mean,
I mean,
as someone who used to work in the industry, were you pissed off at Rube? Were you pissed off? Which you just said that you would agree with the disappointment.
listen, if I was that server, I would have never even ran that.
Fair enough.
From a
So
cook status, I would have never put it up. That's something you do not serve. It looked horrible. From a server status, I would have been like, you're going to remake this because this looks like dog food. And from a customer status, I would have stood up and been like, no, I'm not eating this.
So pretty much you agree with Rube
I do.
wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
And
He was totally in the
no
right.
sympathy for the server, knowing that cook was already kind of shitty that day. And so you didn't feel bad for her at all. You were hoping that,
No.
okay, gotcha. I was just
Sorry,
curious.
Casey.
Next scene we have is George and Daisy O'Dea trying to find who George needs to reap, and it's it's a woman that's playing probably bridge. That's what old women like to play at the park, right? Some bridge.
Sure, I've never seen old women at the park do anything, so
I don't go to the
probably.
park very often, but
I go to the park all the time. My kids love the park.
Well, I mean,
The park is where it's at.
I forget where Dead Like Me takes place. Maybe it's
Washington.
Washington.
Yeah,
Oh.
I saw it on a license plate when I was watching the show.
Oh, wow. Well, Washington.
Surprise.
Well, maybe they play bridge at the park more often at that park. Yeah. So George wants to do something nice. So she tells Mrs. Todd that the rich mogul over there said she's looking very beautiful today.
Yeah, emphasized the beautiful.
Right. Very beautiful. And she quotes.
Yeah. I was like, okay, this is weird. I was like, what could she possibly be doing that's going to be nice? And then she looked at the old man and I'm like, what is going on?
What's
But then I
weird,
got
what's weird is about it is the fact that I was thinking that her doing this was going to cause some kind of friction because that man's going to be like, I didn't fucking say that shit.
right. Right. I was like, something crazy is going to happen, but it didn't. It actually played out in George's
No, they
favor.
didn't. Yeah, it was literally just George trying to be nice like Daisy told her to do. So
Right.
that's, nice and shit.
And shit.
Next we get Rube going up to Angus Cook, who is from Scotland and very poor.
Scotland.
Dealing with some, I liked how Rube just straight up went, which I'd have to look it up, but I think Mandy Patinkin might be Scottish. Patinkin sounds Scottish.
It does.
So I think that was him actually using his legit normal accent.
It was kind of hot, not gonna lie. I'm a sucker for accents.
Saying normally it's a woman for me, but I'm not gonna argue with your hot description of Rube there. Not too shabby, not too shabby. It was fun hearing him in that accent. I mean,
yeah, it was
really
definitely
good. So but yeah, he starts kind of sympathizing for the man,
Mm-hmm.
which kind of really sets up a scene later. Um, and after that, we get Daisy and George talking some more about moisturizer and how it's very important.
Expensive moisturizer. You know what? I can get on this. I can get on this though,
Okay.
because I use a moisturizer, especially an under eye cream that is expensive. So I understand. Like I would steal it from the old dead lady too. It's expensive.
Fair enough. Yeah, that was when they were talking about it earlier. And then this was at the park. They were talking about more
Oh,
telling moisturizing, but yeah, they did talk about that. We didn't really bring
yeah.
that up
I
because that's
forgot
what brought
about
up the
that
whole
part.
stealing stuff.
I
And
forgot about that part.
okay. But yeah, they talk about that. And then Mrs. Todd, which by the way, another thing that I thought is I don't think they ever asked her what her first name was. So I thought maybe she was reaping the wrong person.
That's what I thought too.
And no, it
Mhm.
just all worked out. But
Yeah.
her first name starts with a Q. Like you didn't ask that at all.
Right. Like
You're
that's what
just
I thought.
like,
I was
okay.
like,
I
I need to
mean,
know what her name is. Like
you're with
probably
a bunch of
Quinn.
old people there. How do you know that one of those isn't like Mr. Todd over there,
Exactly.
or that maybe there was a well, I guess she did ask all the ladies, so it's not likely there is like sisters or anything
Right.
with the same last name. But and I have another question. When you're being reaped, does the reapers or the people that make the list are they concerned about your name changing like when you get married, or do they give you your maiden name? I mean, I don't think they do, because obviously it would be a lot harder for them to find
Yeah,
this.
I feel like they probably follow the registry pretty well.
Yeah,
They're like,
they
"Oh, so and so got married today. We got to change their name." But you know what? Wasn't there an episode where there was a married couple?
don't
Did
recall.
it show their name?
Maybe.
The last episode, right?
I'm willing to bet the woman that just died has probably at least been married, and Todd isn't her maiden name.
Probably not, but I would say that they would have to keep up on stuff like that
They
so that they don't
clearly
get the
do.
wrong person. Yeah.
I'm just surprised that name changes matter so much in the Grim Reaper department. it's just something
I
that
bet there's
pops
a
in my
lot.
head.
There's probably a lot of things that we don't realize would like matter to them or would be a
Mhm.
big deal to them.
Yeah,
Like every time somebody moves, they'd be like, "Oh God, now we gotta find them again. We gotta change their reaper."
right.
Like, are they just assigned a certain reaper when they're born? Like, I don't
Maybe
know. There's
they just.
a lot
I
we need to
mean,
know.
that required. Well, not a Reaper. It'd have to be something else, because we meet the Reapers.
Like
We
a
know the
reaper
Reapers.
agent. A reaper
Yeah,
agent.
whoever Rube answers to.
Right. It's
But
like the
during
diocese of reapers.
yes, during this scene, Mrs. Todd ends up chasing after her dog JD and gets hit by a truck.
Hmm. It's not what I thought was gonna happen.
What did you think was going to happen?
I don't know.
Just not
But
die by truck?
like it's funny because she said something like her dog is all she needs or like loves her or something like that. And then her dog is the reason she gets killed.
Uh,
So I was like, I don't know. I just feel like that death could have been better. But I feel
okay,
like I say that about a bunch of them.
fair enough. Yeah, I mean, you notice the Graveling was antagonizing the dogs,
Yeah,
causing
he's
them
like, come
to
on,
run.
boy.
Yeah.
So my question is, if the dog could see the Graveling, can the dog see Mrs. Todd after she died?
Hmm. Maybe, because the way I take it is, um, which it's possible that JD didn't see the Graveling and that the other dog did, because JD was actually chasing the other dog. The other
Right,
dog was chasing the Graveling. So there is
right.
possible a little there. But I was always thinking of the dogs, or the way it works is like they can see the gravelings, or the dead people, as like how a lot of people think that animals can see ghosts, and
Right.
children can sometimes see ghosts, and always thought it could be along those situations.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But I mean, I'm not sure. um then we get George talking to the old woman, Mrs. Todd, because they did say she was Mrs. Todd, right?
Yeah.
So she was married. This is her maiden
Mhm.
name, or not her maiden name, but this is her married
Married
name.
name.
But she talks to her, and then she kind of pushes for George to take JD.
She guilt tripped the fuck out of her.
Yes, she did. And you know what? The only thing I could think of during that scene is, there's a shitload of people you're gonna have to reap with pets. Like, you can't fucking take every single pet.
Exactly. And she has such a small apartment too. So
I mean, it ends up being really sweet at the end, but that's all I could think about is like, man, I bet this happens a lot. And
she's
she's
a
like,
cute dog though.
it was a golden retriever. I mean, what do you expect?
Right. I still want to know what the JD means though.
I like the end. We'll get to that later.
Yeah, I did too.
But so this causes George to kind of reminisce about her past pets. And she kind of murders her pet mouse, Speedy Gonzalez,
Jalapeno.
with a jalapeno.
I was like, what?
And then she gets a bird, calls it Tweety, and her cat that she named Sylvester kills it, and then chokes on the dead bird.
Nobody saw that coming.
And did not see. I mean, I saw the cat killing the bird. I did not see the cat dying because he chokes on the bird.
Wait, is there an animal reaper?
I don't think I want to answer that. I mean, I guess by not answering it, I seem to recall that there is an animal reaper, and I think
I'm excited.
I think you get to meet the animal reaper, and I mean, I don't want to say anything because it's been a while since I've seen the show. But I do recall something along the lines of an animal reaper.
Right.
Or something like that, but I can't remember. We'll find out together. Probably in 20 years when we finally finish the show. All right.
That needs to be our New Year's resolution, to finish the show before the end of the year.
Yes. Agreed.
Haunted?
I thought something fell.
It sounded like something fell.
I am haunted. Cool.
Yes.
Yes.
The Reapers.
So the next thing we get is Rube getting the list and getting pissed. I think he runs out of his
He had to go for a
room
walk.
and is like, what the fuck is this?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean,
Poor Rube.
I know. And it was sad. I mean,
yeah, and it's funny because he's a very heartless person. Well, not really heartless, but you don't see very much emotion from him. And then, like, to see this after he gave that person such a hard time about stuff, and then he finds out, and it's just like,
my only complaint about this whole thing, and I liked this episode quite a bit, actually. This was a fun episode because we got a little bit more of a little more emotion from Rube. I like the whole Cook story.
me too.
But the one thing I was sad about is like this, he probably sees this Cook like every fucking day, right? I mean, he obviously worked there for a long time. They go there almost every day. I think every day they do.
I think every day. That's like their starting point for the day.
So he knows this Cook decently well.
Mm-hmm.
And even though we're just now seeing it, but this Cook dies and doesn't just first thing say, what the fuck is this? You're a Grim Reaper? Like, you took my soul? Like, none of this gets mentioned that he can see this cook. Like, the cook's like, well, I'm dead. Fuck it. But I guess I can already argue this because it's obvious that Rube, he took the soul and obviously made it where he thought he was going back to heaven or wherever they go.
Right.
So we didn't see that scene. So all of that must have been talked about. I just kind of wish we would have got to see them talk about it.
Yeah, me too. I think it was just more of like an unfinished business thing.
Yeah.
And like he had to teach Rube how to cook. Like, you know what I mean?
All I know is if my unfinished business is just to make sure that the person taking over my job is good, kill me now that I care that much about that job.
I swear to God, if I end up back in an IHOP,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be mad.
You're working at their Waffle House.
That was my favorite scene. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. But you're working at their Waffle House, and your unfinished business is this shitty ass restaurant for waffles, and making sure that the person taking over. You know, I want to change this around. I don't think his unfinished business is that he wants to make sure that the person is there doing it. I think he was just so annoyed with Rube that he just wanted to show him how hard his job is. I think this was pettiness, revenge. That's what
it might have been. It could have been. It was just basically like, I'm going to show you why you shouldn't complain about your food. And then because that's what it was, Rube complained about his food all the time. So maybe that's what it was. Like he was just like, I'm going to show you what I go through every day. So maybe you'll understand.
So I guess that makes a little more sense than the fact that he cares that he was in a 1-star diner and that he wanted his job taken care of. It was straight up pettiness. And you know what? For that, I can respect.
Yep, absolutely.
Just to be a ghost and annoy the fuck out of someone who annoyed you in life, you know what? Bravo.
Listen, this is why I hope my ex-husband dies after I do. Because I just want to torment the fuck out of him.
I'm gonna stay alive just to give my ex-husband hell.
Literally.
Scare you know how the scared fuck out of every single woman he's with.
Oh, it would be great. I would love every second of it.
That sounds great. Anyways, then the next scene we have is Rube, George bringing the dog to their Waffle House, and Rube getting upset about it, saying you don't need attachments and don't attach to these people. And it was clearly a scene of I'm attached and I got to take someone's soul that I care about.
Yeah.
So she and just kind of got like
the little emotional part of me was like, don't cry.
Don't cry.
Bad bitch Summer was like, no, it's fine.
Then they talk outside, and it's clear. I mean, from the next scene, you know exactly what's going on. They find out that it's the cook that he needs to reap, and she suggests is the dog's name Jack Daniels? And Rube's like,
I'd name my dog Jack Daniels.
Yeah. What do you think JD means?
I don't know. She was a rich old lady. I don't know. Joy Drive. I don't know.
Joy Drive.
Jesus Daniels.
If you want nom noms too, I made pizza. Okay.
Sorry, I'm getting a refill.
Something, but as a Christian, I really don't want to say it.
You have to text it to me because I need to know.
Well, it's about Jesus. And if you can think of anything that starts with a D that I wouldn't want to say out loud.
I gotcha.
I think you got it.
Yeah, I think I got it too.
It's not tough. No, I don't think it's that.
Me neither. Maybe she was like part of some dark magic cult, though. We'll never know.
She's a witch, and this dog is her familiar.
There you go.
And then George talks about the fact that Reggie also kills all her pets.
Yeah. Oh my God. Was it a hamster? Gerbil?
Yeah, gerbil. I think they said it was a gerbil,
She
and she
drops it in
tried
the
to make it
toilet.
swim in the toilet
And
because
the
Joy
dad's
told her that everyone needs to learn to swim.
and the dad said, I didn't even know she had a gerbil.
Oh yeah, Joy was not happy about that response either.
She's like, of course you didn't.
Yeah,
Such a great marriage.
married. Then we get the scene where the cook chokes on a sandwich,
Oh my
and which that sucks. It's a shitty way to die. But there was something I wanted to bring up. Is they mentioned Mama Cass. Do you know who Mama Cass is?
Mama Cass?
Yeah, they mentioned how she choked on she died by choking on a ham sandwich.
No.
Have you ever heard of the band the Mamas and the Papas?
Yeah.
Mama Cass was the mama of the Mamas and the Papas. She
Okay.
was a singer. She was kind of a big woman, and she
The
died.
size is the mama.
Well, here's the thing. It's a huge, like, when she died, there was a ham sandwich near her body when she died. So the media just took that and ran and said, oh my gosh, this big woman just died by choking on a ham sandwich. That's hilarious, of course, because we're horrible human beings as a species. Here's the thing. She didn't die by choking on a ham sandwich. That is I don't know if it's a myth with that, because
It's fake news. Wait,
it was
fake news.
So it's not really so much a myth as it is she died of a heart attack. According to the coroner, she died of a heart attack. They
Just
didn't really
false
talk about that
information.
as much afterwards.
Because that's not as exciting as somebody dying by choking on a ham
Yeah.
sandwich.
Because
There's
that
no
person
news there.
dying by a ham sandwich is way more hilarious.
You know what? I bet ham sandwich sales went up.
Or down.
Probably up. All these trendy kids trying to kill themselves.
Right. It's a Tide Pod of the 70s.
You know what?
Or 80s. I'm not sure if she
ham
survived
sandwich
the
is
80s.
sounding great right now.
Huh?
I said a ham sandwich is sounding great right now. Make mine a double.
So when we say human beings are terrible people, we mean us too.
Right.
All
Yeah,
right.
basically.
So the next scene we get is Daisy telling George that we can't have this dog in our house. And then she's like,
she's allergic.
I'm allergic. Yeah, after saying something else, and then
she pets the dog.
And then she pets the dog.
But she's allergic.
That's the worst part. Is like she doesn't even try to keep up with the lie. It's like bold-faced lie, and then, by the way, I'm gonna pet this dog.
That's being like, I don't even know. I don't even have a what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know.
I don't know either.
Never mind.
I do like how what George's just thinking about. It's like I didn't even know she knew the word share.
Yeah, that part was pretty funny.
So then we get George going to Mason's house, and we get to see Mason's British package.
Not gonna lie, it was all right package. Like I paid close attention to that scene.
Did you now?
I did.
Georgia wasn't nearly as thrilled.
And my boyfriend watched it with me too, and I feel like he paid attention too.
He had some thoughts about that package. Well, that's good. That's good to know. Then we see Millie because now she's Millie, because we're at the
At the office.
happy time. And she's getting stickered with Post-it notes all over her because she fell asleep at her desk.
How long had she been asleep? Because that was a lot of Post-it notes.
Yeah. I also, we only got a quick scene of her at. Was she just afraid to sleep at Mason's?
I mean, I might
She-
be.
She might have been very afraid of that package.
And I like when she was like explaining to her why she wasn't sleeping. And she was like, "Is he skeezy or something like that?" And she's like, "He's British." And she's like, "Ah." Like British is so much worse than skeezy.
Right. What does that even mean?
I don't know.
If we have British listeners, please tell us why people would find you bad.
Please, because you're my people. You're like my favorite people. So I need to know why.
Love the accents.
Right. I need to know why people think you're worse than skeezy.
Yeah, I want to know. I'm confused. Or if we have terrible human beings listening to the podcast and you hate British people, tell us why.
Yeah, we need to know.
We need to know. Maybe British
We
people
have
don't
to
know
have
why they're
answers to
worse than
these
skeezy.
questions.
Huh?
We have to have answers to these questions.
Yeah, we do need to. You know what? I'll put that as our poll. Or
Yes.
yes, I'll put it as our question on here. So then, and then I guess we should also point out is Dolores offers her a home to stay with her, which we'll get to that.
I'm still not over that scene.
And then Rube tells them that he's a pretty good cook, and we've seen him be a good cook. And I think what this showed is that you can be a decent cook at home and be terrible when dealing with a bunch of orders at once.
Yep.
It's a whole different ball game.
Yep.
When you're
I'm a
trying
superstar.
to get. You're superstar. Superstar. Whole different ball game, and I like that. I like the fact that he showed, and he was bad.
Yeah.
And this is when we get the cook. No. Do we get him? Oh yeah, Ghost Angus hasn't passed over. So yeah, he pops up and was like, "Oh shit,
What are you doing?" He's like,
Yeah.
he said something about like he was the general on the front lines. And then he's like trying to poach eggs and he's like, "Oh, that one's dead. That one's dead."
Yeah. R.I.P. I believe that right before that, we also got the scene where Daisy says she blew Babe Ruth. Which, so that means Daisy's been around a while.
I was like, "Ooh, okay, she likes baseball."
She just likes his bat. I don't know if she liked the sport. But yeah, although I guess she also said she does a lot of blowing apparently, according to her.
Yeah.
But she also, I think she mentioned Rhett Butler once. So I think Babe Ruth actually is more after Rhett Butler. I think Babe Ruth played, was it, or maybe it was the 20s. I'm not real sure actually. Babe Ruth, he's been around for a while, but I'm trying to remember when he played.
Rhett Butler was like 30s, I believe.
Well, Babe Ruth died in 1948.
So Rhett Butler was like Gone with the Wind, right?
Yeah, and that was the 30s.
Yeah. 36, I believe.
Oh shoot, he predates that. He played for 22 seasons from 1914
1895.
to 1935.
Yeah, he was born in 1895.
So she could be over 100 years old.
I mean,
well, this show came out in 2000, in the early 2000s. So I guess this would be more like 80 or something. But which we don't know how old she is, but she's been around a while.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. His stats are amazing.
Oh yeah, he played baseball. He was also a big drunk from what I'm to understand.
Yeah.
And I've heard he's not a great person, but
Yeah, I heard he's not a great person either. Drinking and womanizing.
oh yeah. I mean,
Who wasn't back then?
right. He also played when, other ethnicities were not allowed to play the game. So
Right.
I mean, those
Privileged.
stats might be a little inflated.
There wasn't really anybody to compare it to.
Right. Well, I think Jackie Robinson, the first black player, I think he was the first black player, or he's considered one of the first black players. I think he might have been 30s or 40s.
Robinson?
Yeah, Jackie Robinson.
I know he died in 72. I think 40s.
You think so?
I think so. Because he was in the Dodgers. Or yeah, Dodgers was like 40s, I thought. Because he was inducted in 60s, I believe.
Said he broke the baseball color line when he started at first base for the Brooklyn Dodgers on April 15th, 1947. So it was almost 50s before they allowed a black person to play baseball. Bad history.
Bad history.
Yeah. So Babe Ruth played before he even joined the league.
That's crazy.
Because he ended in 1935. So, I mean, like I said, his stats might be a little inflated.
A little bit.
You're not getting the best people ever. You're just getting all the best white people, I guess. He's really people. Good. King of the whites.
Never really that great. Like,
I mean, I'm just saying.
Just kidding. We like white people. We are one.
Do I have to admit that?
I basically glow in the dark, so I can't deny it.
Right.
I'm as white comes.
I'm very white, so I guess I gotta just own that.
Yeah.
So then we get George being worried about her dog at Mason's because the dog is having hot tub parties with a bunch of women.
I loved that scene. The dog's just sitting there like, okay.
All I'm saying is I wouldn't be too upset if I was the dog.
Yeah.
Women love dogs. He would probably get a shitload of attention.
He was basically using the dog. Pimping the dog out.
Whatever. So then we get Millie stopping at Dolores's house with JD. And all I gotta say is I don't know how I feel about this scene.
I'm still processing.
Because we get Dolores's her big website. And I don't think Dolores realizes what people do, because I'm with George, which I guess that's a little bit farther down the line, but I'm with George that most of the people watching aren't just excited about her doing chores. I'm just saying.
I could not believe that. That cracked me up.
And I don't blame George for being creeped out about staying there.
Yeah, me neither.
I mean, I wouldn't want people watching me 24/7.
The bathroom's off limits, though.
No, your one safe spot. I'm surprised she just didn't go in the bathroom and sleep.
That's what I thought was going to happen, that she was just going to go to the bathroom.
But that's some weird stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
But, whatever. Teach their own. She's getting paid 2 cents and giving it to charity. All I know is I need more than 2 cents of you if I'm going to be showing everything of my life.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
I mean, if nothing else, think about how much it costs to put all those cameras in your house.
Mm-hmm.
That 2 cents isn't even paying for that.
Right.
Just saying. I'm just throwing that out there. Then we get the scene with the cook just riding Rube hard, and I think this is where we start seeing what you were talking about earlier about man down, man down. By the
Mhm.
way, those were what, poached eggs? I've never had poached eggs.
You've never had poached eggs? I love making poached eggs. They're beautiful, but I'm not really a fan of them.
Never had them. I don't know how to make them. I've never had. I don't know what they are. I mean, I know they're eggs. It looks like they were.
It's kind of like they're pretty much boiled. So what you would do would just be water, a little bit of vinegar, and then just boil it till the steam
So it's
covers the
essentially
top.
a hard-boiled egg, but without being cooked outside the shell.
Right, but the inside is usually runny. So it's like an over easy egg, but the top is steamed.
Huh. I love eggs, so I don't know. Maybe I'll have to try it sometime.
Yeah, I mean, they're not bad. They're beautiful eggs. I love making them, and basted eggs. Like, I don't know. I could talk about eggs all day.
Would you say you love eggs from your head down to your legs?
I haven't heard that commercial in forever. We talked about that. Remember that? We talked about that commercial.
Oh yeah, so I thought was talking to my kids about it, and that's why I looked it up on Facebook, or not Facebook, YouTube. Oh, okay, so it was us.
It was me. It was me.
So I probably brought it up that time too. That's why we got into that rabbit hole. Anyways. Oh, my bad. I was too early with Daisy blowing Babe Ruth. I have it right here. Scene 21. And oh, that's right, because that was when he was talking to Daisy and he was like, I don't know what the fuck happened, why this guy, because this was after I thought that was the scene where they were talking about him becoming the cook and not the scene, but this was him just like, I don't know why he's still here and everything.
Right.
And then we get, and I loved this, Georgia coming up to Daisy and Mason and just yelling at them. And then she yells at Mason about doing a hot tub with the dog. And Daisy's like,
he's like, I don't know what she's talking about.
I have no idea what she's talking about. Because that was all in her mind. So she was real pissed off at him about that hot tub.
He's just like, I don't know what she's talking about.
I really think that was, you're making the way you said it makes it sound like he did know what she was talking about, but I think he literally was confused.
Probably.
She was much less confused about why she was yelling at her.
Mm-hmm.
Miss,
but I'm
allergic, but I'm going to pet that dog.
Right.
So then we get the great scene, which I think you wanted to talk about earlier.
Oh, shoot.
Where,
sorry, I'm knocking stuff down.
Huh?
I'm knocking stuff down.
Oh, well, that happens. But then we get the great scene where Rube is going to make a specialty patty melt. And the cook's like, you let them walk over you.
Yep.
And he goes out there. And on one hand, I love this because I love Rube explaining things when you're wrong.
Yep.
He has this wonderful way of saying it without, which actually he did seem to get actually mad here, but he has this wonderful way of talking about it without sounding like super pissed. Like,
right.
I don't think you really know what a patty melt is and everything.
I don't think you understand what you ordered. I've done that before. Like, I've literally confronted a table about it before, about their food. and how they ordered it. And this lady was, how do I explain this? She was very ghetto. We'll say that. And she was like, I know exactly what I ordered. And she just ripped into me. And I was like, no, you want a Denver omelet. You don't want this omelet with all of this added to it. And she was like, just make it how I ordered it. I'm like, okay, that's a $24 omelet for the $9 that you would have been paying for the regular one. But she didn't want to admit that she was wrong. So she paid double, over double for what she wanted.
I feel like this is slightly different.
Right. But I'm just saying.
Only because this guy did want a patty melt. He just wanted the cheese on top of
On the bread
instead of on the burger.
Right.
Which I so yours is a matter of she wanted a specialty omelet, but you had one that was pretty much the same thing.
It was the exact same omelet.
And she just didn't want to order that omelet. She wanted what she thought was the right omelet. Because she didn't know you had the same thing. This is a matter of this guy just wanted his patty melt made differently.
Right.
And I doubt they had that on the menu. I also, as much as I love this scene and I love what Rube says and everything that happens because it's just funny and entertaining, I don't know very many restaurants that have an issue with changing the way they make something per customer request. Very rarely do you have a place. I mean, Burger King says you can have it your way. Most places say you can have it your way, even though we want to say you can't have it your way. This isn't Burger King, motherfucker.
Yeah, literally.
Most places allow you, if you say hold the eggs or hold the onions, we do that. We will make it that way. You want to be made? Hell, I mean, I might be one of your nightmares, but I'll go in there and say, well, I want this added to it or this changed or,
Right.
I mean, I've done the same thing. Most places allow you. The scene's great just because of Mandy Patinkin doing it, but
yeah,
in my opinion, Mandy Patinkin was completely in the wrong here.
I mean, I feel like he just reached his point, and I feel like this is what Cook was trying to prove to him, that after so long and when you're so busy, having someone send back food for some dumb reason, it pisses you off. It puts you off. Like, I had this lady send back a burger one time because she had 4 pickles on it instead of 5, like she's supposed to have, and 2 onions instead of 3 onion rings. So she sent the whole burger back and wanted it remade how it was supposed to be. So, like, I get it. There, you have no clue how many times I've been like, I'll go talk to the table while I'm untying my apron, like getting ready to go out and fight. So,
and I get the frustration. I'm just saying that in almost any restaurant, this is what Rube did was the wrong thing, and he would be fired.
Oh, for sure, yeah. But like their Waffle House, they don't care.
I did love that though. He's like, why isn't there sauerkraut on this German patty melt? He's like, der means the, okay, motherfucker, you uncultured swine. Der Waffle House, der patty melt just means the patty melt.
Yeah, that cracked me up.
And not only that, but you know what? There is a menu, and normally that menu tells you what's on the sandwich. So unless that menu item says with sauerkraut, it doesn't have sauerkraut, despite the fact that being called der patty melt.
Exactly.
Anyways, well, I guess we should probably jump past that scene. Then Dolores kicks her big roommate out. It's the way I put this. Kinda.
Kind of.
And I'm confused. Maybe the people that are on her big website is they like a certain type. Okay. Because if they're doing what I think they're doing, I don't think having an extra woman there would be that big of an issue for her fans.
Yeah. They wanted somebody that was productive in getting things done. As we all
Sure.
know, Georgia is not. No, that's not her.
Maybe we are wrong, me and Georgia, and these people actually just want to see her do chores. Of course, it might be more of a maybe they're upset with George because that's their fetish is seeing women do chores. Oh my gosh. They're misogynist pigs.
They're misogynist pigs.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
They want to see a woman in the kitchen and doing chores.
Or putting together her puzzle or choosing the, like, I saw it as like a real life Sims.
You don't get to control. I guess you can tell her.
Yeah, because remember the guy said which
Oh yeah.
liner to use for the cabinets, and she was like, okay, this one. And then the guy was like, you didn't put detergent in the dishwasher.
Wow. Anyways, yeah, that there's so many things I want to talk about that website, but we're just gonna move on from that. And this I loved. George gives JD to Reggie. I thought that was sweet as shit.
Yeah.
And what was also sweet is Joy didn't just send her away. Joy took the dog.
At first she was going to, like, do you see that? She was like, who are you? What's your name? And then she felt the bow on the front and she was like, well, come in.
And then also what I do love is Reggie's name for the dog. It just stands for just dog.
Just dog.
Just dog.
And Joy's like, I like that. And I was
liked
like,
it too.
Yes.
But then she yelled at her.
Just dog. Get the dog off the bed. There's no pleasing her.
No. But I did like just dog. I'd like to think that's what the old lady named it too.
Maybe.
And the last scene we get is Rube going to the cook's funeral. Well, I'm assuming that was his
sad.
funeral, right?
Yeah.
Because I believe the name on the gravestones of I'm assuming his parents was Samson, I think was on there. So I'm thinking he changed his last name to Cook when he came to America from Scotland.
Going to be.
That's my assumption, at least.
Yeah. But it was sad that the lady, her name Cassie, the waitress from the Durar Waffle House, she was there and she had like that one little rose, and I was like,
we didn't really mention it, but I did like how he talks about, we got to do this, and that's very temperamental. She's like, wow, you really did pay attention to Angus, huh? So
she was like, you didn't just eat here, you watched him cook. And I was like,
oh, I really appreciated him.
I was like, is there anyone that ever just watched me cook?
Yes, Summer, a lot of people just watched you, and it's not necessarily as sweet as this is, okay?
I know. Especially when I worked at Bob Evans and you could see like right into the kitchen. And those creepy old guys that would just come in and be like, we want to sit here.
Oh gosh.
And I'm just like, please kill me.
Yeah, I believe they call them stalkers, the ones that are watching you cook.
I used to switch galleys with that real big guy when I worked with him. When those guys would come, just so they would be seeing him the whole time. They'd think they were coming to see me, and he'd be over there all sweaty and stuff. And I'd just be on the other side where they couldn't see me. And I'm like, heck yeah.
But yeah, so that was the episode A Cook. So what'd you think?
It was good. I loved it. It of course had like a special thing with me being a cook. Well, I'm not anymore, but when I used to be a cook, honestly, lately I've been missing it a lot. Like a lot. And I'm like, you should just quit your job and go back to cooking. Quit my salaried job and go back to cooking. But I don't know. Cooking made me happy. And it like kind of gave me a sense of purpose, which is weird because like
Now you're
what
dealing
I
with, you know,
what I do
taking care
now,
of, actually taking care of people, which is way more, probably
right?
more purposeful.
Being right, being a dietary manager is a lot more, or it should be a lot more rewarding. But I don't know why. It isn't. At the end of the day, I just feel like I'm still missing something. And I think it's because I'm not cooking. Because now I'm finally staffed up enough where I'm doing the things that I need to be doing and I'm not in the kitchen as much and I'm like down talking to residents and getting to know them one on one. Don't get me wrong, I love my job, but there are times when I'm just like, I want to go in there and get that flat top going and just start making something.
Yeah, I think
So,
it's you start the things that you hated while you were doing, you start to realize how much you actually enjoyed it, even the
right.
craziness of it, you know. I miss
Like
serving a lot,
oh my God, I miss
and
serving
bartending,
so much.
and
I miss
bartending.
serving. Like serving was such a like ego boost for me, I guess. Because like they would call me in early and they'd be like, we need you to come in here and get things together. And I'd like, hell yeah, I'm going in to save the day. And I'd get in there and I'd take all these tables and everybody would be happy and I'd make all kinds of money. And then like I'd go home and sleep for 3 hours and do it all again. Like I don't know. I
Sounds to
just
me you just miss being wanted so much, or
no,
needed.
I have enough of that already.
No, that's not what I meant. I don't mean in a romantic aspect. Is you miss, or like it's more of like a hero complex you have right now.
Maybe.
You're like,
I don't
I can
know.
save the day here.
Yeah, but I'm like literally saving people's lives at work.
Yeah, but it's not as
So
fulfilling.
it's not. And
Uh,
I feel bad about that. Like I feel bad that I feel like my job isn't fulfilling because it is.
it should be.
Yeah. I feel like if you're someone that's been in the food industry, like that takes a special somebody. Not everybody can do it. And you understand that.
I do.
So, like, I feel like there's a part of me that's always going to want to go back and be a cook, always going to want to go back and be a server. Like, I'm probably going to retire and be a fucking like 90s diner server.
Right.
Like,
Hot
and I'll
tin
be
roof.
fine with that. I'm going to move to like Florida and just work in a diner and be happy. See my grandkids at Christmas. That'll be fun.
We were actually just talking about this, me and Mary Beth, while we were at trivia.
I
We were
miss
talking.
Mary Beth.
I know. I'm sure she misses you too. But we were
Yeah.
just talking about how she was talking about how she was a guy she used to date. It just pissed her off because he was just talking about how oh, I'll just get a job stocking. It's simple and easy like serving. And we're just like, both of us are like, serving is not easy. Okay.
No.
I don't think people realize how much goes into serving and how much you're running around like a chicken with your head
Mhm.
cut off. Like,
Especially when you're the only server in a freaking IHOP at 2
mhm.
in the morning on Halloween and 2 different freaking, haunt groups come in. Do you remember that? Were you there for that?
Maybe.
I was
Perhaps.
I was like, "Oh my god, how am I gonna do that?" I had you guys in the back, the freaking Mansfield Reformatory people in the front, and it's just me. But I rocked it.
Yeah, but you know you loved it when we came.
I did. I loved it so much. And everybody else loved it, loved having me as their server. And I think that's what I miss the most is that people would walk in and they'd be like, we want summer because
Hero complex.
yeah, we all knew it was going to be a good time.
We
Maybe
had a
that's
good
what
time. We always had a good
maybe
time.
that's what I miss the most is just having a good time because
That
I'm
might be it.
very adulty now.
Damn
Like
it.
I
Damn the
come
adulting.
home, I come home from my 8 to 12-hour shift and I eat dinner, take a shower, go to bed, and get up and do it all again. Like, I can't even remember the last time I actually went out and did something.
Well, we need to do that.
We do. We do.
Go
Very soon.
karaoke or something.
Mhm. See, my plan, because Zay and I actually talked about it the other day. My plan was to come down Thursday, well, tomorrow, and us all meet up for karaoke. But somebody had to get COVID and somebody else had to be around somebody with COVID. So,
It's kind of
so
hard. This
we're
might
both
not be the best
quarantined.
time to be going out anyways. I mean,
Yeah.
it's there we've been going to B-dubs for trivia. The servers are back to being forced to wear masks because it's getting so
Are
bad,
they?
which is not a bad thing. I mean,
Right.
I'm just saying that people are starting to realize, it's getting really bad out here with this
Right.
new strain.
And it's also like the cold and flu season too.
Yeah.
And everybody's just like, oh, it's just a cold. I can still go and do this. I can still go and do that. When really they're spreading their COVID to everybody. And
Spreading that COVID.
just somebody said something the other day, and I can't remember who it was, but they said, COVID is spreading faster than a prostitute's legs when rent is due. And I about lost it because I think it was one of my residents that said it. And I was just like,
That's hilarious.
but now that's like, I was thinking about that and I was like, they're right.
It works.
And nobody, it checks out. And like, nobody's doing anything about it because we have so many people that are like, COVID isn't real. You guys are being scared. You're being forced into a Republican agenda, blah, blah,
No,
blah,
it would
blah,
be
blah.
Democrat. I'm pretty sure it's the
Well,
Democrats that
I
they're
don't
complaining
know.
about.
Well, it always changes. It's always either the Republicans or the Republicans. I've had too much to drink. But either way,
What this
like it's
show's about.
always right. It's always, these bad guys are making us do this. When in all actuality, if you just take out all the politics, all the bullshit, and just be like a regular human being with a heart and be like, you know what? Maybe it's not just about me. I mean, I don't want to get COVID. That's not something, it doesn't sound pleasant. I have a heart condition. Like, it doesn't sound like a good time. You understand that.
Not a good
So,
time.
but other than that, like, I don't want my kids to have COVID. I don't want my boyfriend or his parents to have COVID. I don't want to have like all these people at work. Like, I don't want to be the person that like goes into work with COVID and like, and now 45 people are dead. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
people have to stop thinking about themselves
Good
because it's not
luck.
like, and that's a sad thing. Like, I was talking to someone who's a resident, and he said that the United States is no longer the United States. And I was like joking around with him, and I'm like, oh, what do you mean by that? And he was like, we're not united. We haven't been united in years. And I was like, holy shit, you have a
He's not
very
wrong.
valid point. He was like, we used to have our neighbors back. We used to do things for each other without question. We wouldn't judge someone just by the way they looked. Somebody needed money, we'd help them out and not ask for it in return. Like, we used to be united. It was like, we've come a very long way from that. And I was like, you're right. Like, but like, how do you change that?
I don't know.
Like, and that's my thing. Like, I try to tell myself all the time, because the only way things are going to change is if we change them. So we have to be like an example of what we want to see, or nothing's gonna get better.
Here's just
Huh?
so beautifully put. So about this show about Grim Reapers.
Sorry.
No, that's fine.
That was my Oprah moment.
That's what we do. We go on rants.
Inspirational.
We go on rants. This time was more of an inspirational rant, so that's nice.
I know. I wasn't like cussing anybody out or anything. That's weird.
Right. Normally, yeah. You have been out of the server game too long.
I'm just gonna start working at a Denny's 2 hours a week.
So you can get back that fire.
My feistiness.
So who is your favorite character in this episode? Which, by the way, I forgot to mention, no Foxy. Once again, no.
I know. Like, and I keep paying attention to this because Foxy is one of my favorites. So I'm like, where has she gone?
I know you mentioned to me over text earlier that you thought she just doesn't come back. You thought she was just gone from the
Right.
show. I can assure you she's not.
Yeah, that's what you
Um,
were saying. So I'm excited to know that she will return.
I'm guessing maybe she just they weren't sure if they wanted to keep using her, and they kind of kept her out for a couple episodes, and then they
Maybe she had a
eventually
baby
bring.
or something.
It's weird. It's been like 4 episodes, hasn't it? Like 3 or 4
I think so.
with no
Because we're
Fox.
on 8 now.
Yeah, I think that was 8.
And I think she was in the first 3. So maybe 4 or 5.
I don't. Well, she hasn't been there since Daisy O'Dare showed up.
Okay. So yeah. Crazy.
But I don't think she was there when I already forgot her name. The other girl that jumped
Too soon.
too soon.
She was my favorite.
You hated her at first.
I know, which
Look-
is so crazy. But I feel like that's me though. I would have jumped.
But yeah, so who is your favorite character in this episode?
Probably Rube.
I think it was Rube. I think Rube is
Yeah.
definitely my answer. I loved
Yeah.
Rube's little story. A lot of times Rube is more in the background, just playing
Mhm.
the dad.
Yeah.
Serious
Yeah,
dad.
that
And
was
he actually got his own little arc in this episode.
right. And that was like a nice little heart-wrenching thing to see from him.
Yeah. Rube is a good choice. I was worried you were going to go with Mason's package, just simply his package, not Mason, but actually, wong.
I didn't think about it. Had I thought about it, maybe.
Maybe. Who was your least favorite character in this episode?
Daisy.
Daisy. It's always Daisy.
She's just so aggravating. She's like the kind of girl that I would beat up in high school. Not that I ever beat anyone up in high school.
No, not at all.
No.
No. Yeah.
Sorry about your face.
I don't know. I don't think I was a big fan of Mason's package. So,
You don't have to be jealous.
but no, I think it was Daisy as well.
Yeah. She's
Um,
a weird one. Sorry, the dog keeps stealing my slippers.
So we only had 2 deaths, and one was a ham sandwich, and one was a hit by a car truck. So what was I'm guessing based on your opinions on the truck, the ham sandwich? I mean, they weren't very good deaths in this one.
No, I was very disappointed with both deaths, honestly. There's so much they could have done in the kitchen scene. So I was expecting like a really good death. And no, ham sandwich.
It's life sometimes, though. You don't get the fancy death.
Yeah, I
Yep.
mean, I hope that I get a good death, but I hope it probably won't happen. I'm probably just like die of old age or something.
I didn't even notice what the Graveling did to his sandwich. Like,
He just ran across it.
he probably put his package on the sandwich, and that's what killed him. He got teabagged with a sandwich by a
He bagged with a
Graveling.
ham sandwich.
Teabagging ham sandwich.
That's funny.
It's the only thing I can think of. I'm not sure what he did.
The flyby teabagging.
I've been playing the new Halo Infinite, so I've been dealing with a lot of teabagging. So it's kind of like top of my mind. I get killed by some 12-year-old and I get teabagged afterwards.
My kids have probably killed you.
I'm judging, but I don't ever get on the chat, so I have no idea if it's 12-year-old. I'm just assuming that that's who's teabagging me right now. Some kid who doesn't even know how to use his willy whacker. Oh, this is what you do with it. Let me teabag.
Oh my god. I am terrified for my boys to get older.
Ugh.
Like It's not cool. They were talking about boners the other day, and I just wanted to slap the shit out of both of them and drive them to a fire station. Like, no, I don't want to hear these things.
In fairness, I mean, when you're a kid, that is a very confusing aspect of your childhood. Like,
That's
why
what
is
he
that getting
said.
hard? Is that
That's what
supposed
he
to be
said.
hard?
He was like, Mom, I don't understand. He said, sometimes it hurts. And I don't have a dick, so I don't know what to tell him. I don't know if what he's feeling is normal. I'm
It
like, did you
is.
talk to your dad about this? And he's like, no. Like the fact that he thought it was like disgusting to talk to his dad about this, but he's talking to his mom about it. Like,
Well, let's be honest. His dad is a preacher, a douchebag, but a preacher. And his mom is like a badass. So
I mean, you're not wrong.
who are you gonna be more comfortable to talk to?
Right. I mean, he's not a preacher anymore though. He's just a
Don't give a fuck.
I guess he like married somebody not too long ago. Like performed the ceremony or whatever. So he's still doing stuff like that, but he's not like a
But his
preacher.
kids probably know him as a preacher, right? They grew
I
up with
don't
him as a preacher. That's what
Yeah,
they think. That's what they associate with their father.
pretty much. Yeah.
So that would be a scary thing. Like, Daddy, can we talk about my penis?
I just don't know. Like
I need to talk about my holy rod.
I just don't know what to tell him. And then oh my God. They were like, I want to listen to this song. And I was like, okay. So we played the song and I was like, what? I forget what the song is called, but hold on, let me look it up real quick. Because some of these lyrics, like I was like, turn it off.
Turn it off. Yeah, being a parent is weird.
It is.
Because you're thinking about the fact that when I was his age, I was listening to some weird shit too.
Right.
But now as a parent, you're like, no, don't do what I did when you were young. I know
Okay.
what you did.
Okay, I'm just gonna read like the first couple lines and it'll just tell you how bad this is.
Okay.
One bad bitch and she do what I say so. Two big 40s and a big ass Draco. 3 more millions when you ask how my day go. Pour up a 4, now that's blueberry fago. One false move and we straight to shooting shit. 2 small bands just to take you out real quick. 3 more hoes pull up and fucking shit. That's how it go. Big bands, I'm thumbing shit.
Okay.
And I was like, you guys are only allowed to listen to church music from now on. I was just like, who said this is okay? And then I'm like, do you listen to this at your dad's? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, does he hear it? So I was like, how am I supposed to do this? Like,
I mean,
I don't want to be the
when I was young, I was listening to Eminem talk about, want to see me jam 9-inch nails through each one of my eyelids,
Yeah, but I feel like it's weird because I feel like the music we listen to, even though it's fucked up, isn't as bad as the stuff there is today.
Well, as the generations go, you have to get more fucked up to out fuck up the last generation. So they
You're
have to
not
look at
wrong.
Eminem's stuff back then, or Marilyn Manson's, or whatever, and be like,
Right.
we got to top that shit. We got to go more fucked up. And it's been going throughout time. Back in the 40s, they had to be more cutesy with it, and then they get to the 50s, and they had to be more,
And this has been the history of music.
yeah. Then Prince talks about Little Red Corvette, and he really, they had to use a lot of like hidden meanings back then.
Yeah.
And we're getting to the point where we're done with saying Little Red Corvette. We're just saying pussy, and we're just
Yeah.
like dropping everything.
Yeah. And that's the most horrifying thing as a parent. Like, nothing is censored anymore.
I enjoyed the
Just-
more hidden meanings.
Me too. Me too.
Although, in fairness, we still get those.
Yeah. But still.
But what was your favorite scene of the show? I'm trying to
Um,
keep us on topic every once in a while.
right? When Rube went over to that table. Yeah, that was my favorite scene. And just the look on Cook's face when he was like, yes,
I
you
know.
get it. You understand. That's my boy. Like he was just like, hell yes, thank you.
His ghostly rod got hard too. There we are, Rube. Do it. You throw that sandwich on that guy.
He's like, yes. No cheese on your bread.
That's right. It goes on the patty like God intended.
The patty melt, not the grilled cheese. That was funny. Like every cook in the world that would watch that would be like, thank you.
Right.
But I did also really like the part at the end when Casey or Cassie or whatever her name is did say, you really did watch him cook, because
Oh
like
yeah.
that part, I don't know, that just meant a lot because that's how I learned to cook was watching the cooks that I thought were amazing cook.
Right.
So like you learn a lot from watching.
Indeed.
Yep.
You do. Well, do we have any more rants to go on before we wrap it up?
I don't think I have any more rants. I'm trying to think if there's anything that
Inspirational
talk to me
rants?
about. Let me see. Let me stroke my beard here.
Well, I do want to bring up that I am planning on starting up a new trivia podcast.
Yes.
And it's gonna be like competition style. I'm gonna host it, come up with trivia questions.
I'm excited about this.
I am as well. Hopefully getting it started soon.
Okay.
If you're interested, you can contact me. I haven't come up with a specific email for the trivia podcast for that, but I have come up with a name: Stephen Host Internet Trivia.
That sounds like some shit.
Isn't it? Doesn't it? And I mean, we're gonna have rounds. I'm still trying to come up with the format. I'm thinking we're gonna do like 10 points a answer, and then like I want buzzers. So I'm gonna make everybody who joins, whoever is a contestant, will come up with their own noise making buzzer. Okay.
Yes.
So we're gonna have buzzers, and you're gonna pick your own if you're a contestant.
I'm getting an air horn.
An air horn. There you go. You can get that on your app.
Yeah.
So, and then my thought process, I think what I'm going to do is like do 10 points. And if you get it wrong, your opponent gets a chance to steal, and they can choose to get it for 10 points, or they can choose to get it for 5 points with multiple choice.
Oh,
you get less
that's a really
points
good idea.
if you go with multiple choice. You get more points if you get it right without the multiple choice. I think that's cool.
Like this. I think it's going to be awesome.
I think it will be cool. I'm also going to have a mode. I haven't quite come up with the actual name, but something along the lines of, do you know your shit? And every contestant that comes on will tell me beforehand what their favorite topic or what they think would be a really good topic for them. So if you're really good at Harry Potter, for example, you would pick Harry Potter. And then if you prefer movies or TV, you might want to tell me that. And I'll make sure to find questions that have to do with just the movies or just the TV, or, be specific.
We should just do a complete bullshit round.
Bullshit.
Where it's like just our friend group. And we ask questions. So what was the name of the guy that so-and-so met at the bar that
So know your friends round. I mean,
yes.
that would be fun to an extent.
Yeah,
but
some things would have to be off limits.
Well, the only problem with that is that, with the trivia podcast, I know I like listening to quite a few of them. It's one of the fun parts is playing along. And if you throw in a category like that, you're not going to be able to play along by listening to it at home.
Yeah, you're right. That's why it's just a fun one.
So when people, so when the friends get on there, they just talk shit while they're on there.
Yeah.
And my intentions, and because I grew up playing games like You Don't Know Jack, which is a trivia game where the host like makes fun of you while you play. So that's
I
my
should be the
intention. I'm
host.
going to throw out,
Yes.
I'm hoping to throw out some quips and laughs.
Can I be a celebrity host?
A celebrity host? Maybe. That might be fun.
That would be
Maybe
so
I can be
much
the
fun.
contestant.
Yes, perfect.
I mean, we'll get to the point where I'll have other people. I'm going to have to host the first few. I mean,
Yeah,
get
definitely.
started, you know, because I'm coming up. I've already come up with questions for my first game, which is I don't know who I have an idea who my first two guests will be. I don't know yet. It's a matter of getting them together, getting their favorite categories and everything. But I've got a set of questions for them, and I'll probably change. I mean, this is new, so I might add new categories,
Right.
new types of ways to play. You know,
I mean, you already know I'm good at trivia. I've schooled
You are.
everyone on your Christmas trivia, so.
Yes. But I'm really excited about this. I love trivia. If you know,
Yeah.
everyone knows I go to trivia almost weekly.
Yeah.
I love playing it. I've been wanting to be a host for a while, and now I said, fuck it. I'm trying to get properly hired. I'm gonna just start my own and be a host.
Why not?
Force my friends to challenge each other. I think it will be a blast. Maybe we'll get
Absolutely.
into like a tournament style sometime, maybe eventually
That
down
would
the
be
road.
cool.
For now, we'll just get it started, see how it goes. But
Yeah.
if you like trivia, hopefully you'll start listening to Stephen host internet trivia. So
Welcome to the shit show.
Yeah. If you're interested, you can find me on Dragon Blazer Productions on the Facebooks, the Instagrams, YouTube. YouTube's probably not the best place to try to get a hold of me, but I do have a YouTube. That's where this will show up because this is going to be put on YouTube here soon. And then also on Twitter, Dragon Blazer Pro. I'll probably have an email address specifically for that episode or for that show. I haven't come up with it yet. I haven't started it yet. I've made questions, but I haven't gone much further than that. But I'm excited.
All right. And I actually do have something to plug for the first time in forever.
What? What? Hey everyone, I'm
You
Steven.
can find me on Facebook,
from
Drunk Summer.
Many different podcasts.
I haven't really been
like
on there
Drunk
much.
Like
We
Me,
had
Pro
my
Wrestling
I lost my
Apologist,
sister,
The
and
Rage
then this
and
whole
Blaze
COVID
Show,
thing. So
and of
things have been a
course
little rough,
that
but we're
it's
getting
been
back
dark.
to
We
it.
haven't recorded. So
Right. So we're getting back into it, and
please
we'll be adding more stuff
like
soon.
and subscribe. Awesome.
So yeah. We're looking into an Instagram page and everything. So right now, Facebook, Drunk Summer. We'll go from there.
All right. Well, thank you for listening to another episode of Drunk Like Me. Until next time, avoid those gravelings.
And wear a mask.
Wear a damn mask.